If we watch the best ball strikers in the world, we see them all do this with their right arm, and that is their right arm getting closer to their left arm in the downswing, which promotes amazing shallowing and free fluid rotation, which is the key to be able to strike really good, consistent golf shots. And then what I see amateur golfers do, they will be continually having their right arm move away from them in the downswing. So instead of having the right arm get closer to the left, the right arm gets further away from the left, which causes a steep shaft. That'll cause their rotation to stall, early extension, flip release, terrible ball striking. So if you can do this right arm tip, and that is getting that right arm closer to the left, I can guarantee you're going to be striking the ball the best you ever have in your life. And I'm not just going to tell you that one, just to do a drill for this, is absolutely, there is going to be drills to do to get this right arm closer for all the good moves, but there is more to it than that. I'm going to get more in kind of a comprehensive way on things you need to do at certain parts of the backswing and downswing to be able to get this move, because it's not quite as easy as just getting that right arm moving in closer. We need to do good things for setup, backswing, transition, and in the downswing, and of course, some good drills. So let's get to it. Now, number one, the setup, which is crucially important if we want to, in the downswing, have the right arm get close to the left for that shallow shaft, that great rotation through the golf ball. So what we want to do, we want to have the right elbow point slightly in front. So if I'm hitting a ball in this direction, you can see it's pointing just a little bit left of you guys there. So what that technically is, that is externally rotating that trail shoulder, so my right shoulder there. That's going to make it incredibly easy for me for when I move up to the top of my swing, the right elbow stay in front of here, the seam line, and it's going to make it fold nicely, because what we see amateur golfers do, which prevents them from getting this right arm going in, is they'll be like this. So again, if I'm hitting the ball in this direction, you can see that the inside of my right elbow is pointing down towards the target there. That's not what we want. That's going to be putting the right shoulder into internal rotation, which makes you get that right elbow moving behind, huge gap between the arms, gets behind the seam line, makes it almost impossible to get back in front of you. So we want to make sure when you're setting up to the golf ball, you want to have that elbow, underside the elbow, pointing nicely in front, and then grip the club from there. That is number one. If we want to do it, it makes good shots like this, nice and straight, way easier to do, and makes that right arm move a little bit easier, a little bit more automatic. So number two, how you're moving the right arm in the backswing, folding it up correctly. Because like we just said, having the good setup in that externally rotated shoulder position with the elbow pointed in front encourages the good movements to happen, but we still need to make sure it does, because I've seen plenty of golfers in this good setup position and then do this. Pull that right arm in to where that elbow shoots behind, the gap gets larger again, and now they're going to struggle to get it moving back in front. Too much to do. What we want a folding up movement. We want, as we move back, the right arm to nicely fold to where it stays in front of that seam line. That gap between the arms is still minimized, and then from there it becomes so much easier in transition to get that right arm squeezing in for that nice shallow move, those nice Ben Hogan-y type of moves. So to get this nice right arm movement, you have to do a very specific feel, which is, this is what I tell a lot of my students on Skillist to do if they're struggling with right arm feels and how it's moving in the backswing. Is imagine you're in the gym doing some bicep curls. You're gonna get bigger arms, bigger biceps. You're doing some bicep curls. So as you swing back, you want to do half a repetition of a bicep curl. So a full bicep curl, we'll be getting that forearm to your bicep. We want it halfway, so it's almost like 90 degree there. So that's the movement pattern we want up towards the top of the swing. We don't want to start a lawnmower. We want to do half a bicep curl. If we do a full bicep curl, we've lost our width. We want half a bicep curl. So if we can get that, we're setting ourselves up with a nice fold into a great position at the top, and then it'll be way easier to squeeze that arm. And again, for nice straight shots, nice right arm folding up half bicep curl. Now number three, and that is starting the downswing. Now this is so crucial, of course, to be able to get this squeezing move, this right arm moving into the left arm. But actually the most natural way to get this, which most of the top tour players in the world that we're seeing at the beginning of the video, how they do it is not actually by trying to do it with their right arm. They are doing it via pushing their left hip backwards, which forces the upper body into more flexion, which naturally then gets the right arm in and closer to the left, minimizing that space that we're seeing there. So if you can start that downswing, you've got that good setup, that good folding, your arm's in a brilliant spot, pushing that left hip back, forces that upper body into flexion, that gets the right arm moving more forward. Because if we do the opposite, which I see so many golfers doing this, they will start that downswing, pushing the pelvis forward. Of course, they won't be trying to do this. This will be just a fault that they're doing, bad habit. And you can see as soon as I do that, pelvis goes forward, upper body extends. If the right arm isn't moving with it, it's going to start to move behind, that gap gets bigger. So the space between the arms is now not good, right arm's behind the seam line. A lot of players will think here that they've just got poor trail arm mechanics, where in reality it's how their pivot is moving. So that's why we want that left side to go back, forces the upper body to go down, and then for vast majority of all of you, you'll start to get the move really, really nicely. Now for the fourth point, before we dive into the drills, which are coming really soon, vast majority of golfers, after doing everything we just talked about, the first 3 points, will have this move already in their golf swing after doing that. But I'd say around 10% of golfers will still struggle with that right arm movement. Could be because of shoulder mobility, could be just because that is a struggle point for them. So that 10% of golfers will need to really feel that squeezing in. So that right arm getting closer to that left. So that's where they're doing all the other good movements, but this will just help them along the way from there. And how you get these feels, that feeling of squeezing that right arm closer to the left, is via the drills. Drills create the feels, so let's get into the drills. Now for the drills, number one, this is the best one for this to hit balls with, and that is an impact ball. Now, of course, preferably, I'd want you to use a bit of a newer impact ball than the one I've got. I've had this for over 10 years, as you can see. So there is a link in the description to pick up one of these as well with a discount code as well, so that would be brilliant for you guys. So impact ball. Now you can use something like a Tour Striker Smart Ball or just a small inflatable ball, but why this one's better is because what this does, this keeps the space between your two arms constant. So that's exactly what we want. And of course, if we're keeping that space in between the arms, we can also feel like that right arm is squeezing into the ball. Because if we don't do this, which is why I think this is better than, for example, one of the balls with a lanyard around your neck, because if that right arm even slightly gets more behind, it drops down to the ground immediately. So that's where it gives us brilliant feedback. So if you're getting that good setup, you're getting that good folding movement, and then you're transitioning well, pushing that pelvis back. So we just need to keep this in between the arms and we'll be all good to go. So just nice little one down there. And that'll be a great way to go about working on it. You see so many of the top players working on a training aid just like this. And it's because it has very, let's say, multifaceted type of what we would call just improvements that it can give to your golf swing. I was trying to find a better word for it than that, but absolutely it just creates, you know, lots of improvements in lots of different areas. So many videos I've got on here on my channel talking about how good like a training aid like so is, but for us it keeps that space in between the arms constant, and this is the best way to do it because it tells you immediately if you've done it right or wrong. So the second drill is one you can all do at home as well as the driving range, and this is called the Nunchuck drill. So it's where you just grab the club head, you flip it over to where it's going up your right forearm, and what this does, this isolates the movement of the right arm going inwards, because of course for the space between the left elbow going closer to the right has to go in if you want to get that closer. So what we do, grip it just like this and then hold the golf club like so. This is great for guys who have too, let's say, inflexible of a trail shoulder. If you're really struggling with your mobility and flexibility with it, this is brilliant. It stretches it out loads. So turning up to the top, you can see it's nicely in front of me as well. Brilliant. And then as I start to rotate and turn down, getting that left hip to be pushed back, I'm pulling this in front with my left hand. So there we go. That's getting me into that position. Oh God, it stretches out your shoulder like anything. Really good. And just wrap that out. So you can do that a ton at home, or you can do that loads, let's say before a couple shots on the driving range, and then hit some shots there, replicating that same feel. Boom. Really nice. So absolutely, if you can get that right arm, right elbow going towards your left elbow, that'll be by far, because of the amount of things it will get into your golf swing, the best tip for ball striking you will ever have. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.